It is good to have all of you on here. I am not going to try to introduce all of you because there are 4 of you on here. I'll let you all introduce yourselves. This is Evan Coachman with Play, and we're doing a bit of a roundtable with some West Texas coaches from various universities, and we'll talk a little bit today about various topics. But Cade, if you want to start first, I'll let you knock out a quick synopsis of who you are.
Yeah, sure. My name is Cade Powell. I'm over at Lubbock Christian University. Been coaching for about 3 years, just stepped in full-time in January. So still learning, still trying to figure everything out, trying to work with our coaches and everything. But thanks for having me on. Excited to meet you guys and Evan, visit with you again. It's been a while, so I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say and just learn a little bit. So,
yeah, I'm Luke Lancaster, Director of Strength and Conditioning at Abilene Christian here in Abilene, Texas. Been here a little over 2 years now. Was named director back in August, so I got here as an assistant. Just trying to figure out this whole coronavirus situation that we're all fighting right now. Just like I'm sure everybody's trying to figure out their way to go about it.
My name is Hagen Little. I'm the Director of Strength and Conditioning at McMurry University. We're a small university here in Abilene, Texas. I've been there for about a year and 2 months now. I'm the first strength coach they've had. So not only am I trying to figure out the corona, I'm also trying to figure out how to be the strength and conditioning guy and get that program going. So that's kind of something we're trying to get going off the ground and all that. So I'm pretty excited to be here, learn a little bit, and hear kind of from everybody kind of what's going on and how they're handling business. So yeah, it's awesome.
I'm John Bloom. I'm also here at Abilene Christian. Originally came here playing football, and then after my freshman year, I started working in strength conditioning, and then graduated this last semester in December. Kept working here, so I've got women's basketball, volleyball, golf, and then assistant Luke with football.
Nice. So it's kind of good that I'm happy we've got this roundtable because we have a whole bunch of walks of life everywhere from Division I, Division III. We've got assistant coaches, head coaches. We've got a guy that's trying to basically start a position at McMurry, which would be really cool to hear that from Hagen. But Cade brought it up, and I think it goes to – it's the first thing that I want to dive into and hear y'all's thoughts and how you're approaching it. But COVID, it's hit us. It shut some things down. Some athletes have gone home, or all athletes have gone home. How are y'all handling that? What are y'all doing? And feel free to jump in.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start us out. I know at least for us at ACU, I actually just got off the phone with our whole football staff, and the biggest thing for us is trying to hold people accountable right now, making sure that they are staying active, but also being aware of everything going on in the world, the whole social distancing thing. So giving our kids opportunities to find things to do, to work out, making sure they're staying accountable with all their academics. That's a really big deal for us right now, is making sure the academic thing gets taken care of. I'm sure you guys are going through the same thing. Everybody's going through the whole online process. So trying to get our kids adapted to that and how that's going to work. I know one thing that we're going to try and do, at least as a strength staff, is just reach out to kids, kind of a cold call situation. Again, they all have packets that I just sent them today, but then just kind of cold calling them, see how the workouts are going. What do they have to use for a workout facility? And I know majority of them are going to say nothing. So that's why you send them the whole body weight workouts. Try to use social media at our expense too, because the kids are going to be on that most of all. So we're really just trying to keep the kids accountable and make sure that they're just staying active is, at least from my end, the biggest thing. I'll let Hagen kind of jump in here and see what he's doing.
Yeah, I guess from our end, like I said, this is kind of dropping us. Not only are we starting a program and getting, I hate using this word, but culture going, trying to establish accountability and guys in the weight room kind of understanding how things need to go and the flow and that kind of thing. So I guess some things that I'm doing personally, we use Team Builder. That's a huge thing for us right now, that Team Builder. I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably saving my job right now as we speak. Because, I'm a little airheaded a little bit sometimes where I'm trying to write down, workouts in my mind. I'm like, hey, this is what needs to go down with an isometric squat hold. But the guys are like, I don't even know what that is. So like Team Builder allows me to use the videos and stuff like that. So that's something that's been big for us. And I've created what I call report cards. Every 4 weeks at the end of our cycle, We'll have like weigh-ins. They'll have like a sheet that I've built an Excel template they can use. So they'll be able to do like body weights, be able to check on like water consumption, sleeping. It's got a whole little chart thing, and they'll be able to do that every 4 weeks. And I'm actually having our leaders. So on the football team, we use like in our off season, we do a fun competitive atmosphere where we have 6 teams. There's 2 what we call leaders for each team. Those guys are actually taking control of those report cards, and they're going to actually be able to check in on their teams, if you would, for the remainder of the offseason. So that's been something that was awesome for us for accountability, is just using that team atmosphere. And that was already something we already did in the offseason before this coronavirus hit. We're just continuing, if you call it the turn up, we're just going to keep it going. So that's kind of something that we're doing that's a little bit unique, I guess. But that's what we got going on. So,
Cade, Howard, I know you kind of having to start a program too. You're in a little bit of the same boat as Hagen is. How are you working on your end?
Yeah, so Hagen, I probably should have mentioned that too. I'm the first full-time guy we've had ever. Most teams have been just like contract work. Who do we know that does P90X that can do it with our athletes in our gym, sort of thing. So, and unlike you, we don't have team builder. I had a rack. I was supposed to meet with rack yesterday or Monday or whatever day, and when we got shut down out of our office, so we weren't able to do that. But so yeah, right now it's and maybe you guys are different. Luckily, ACU, you guys have 2 coaches, but I'm putting together workouts for at home, sending it to all of our coaches and having them send it out to their kids. I work with some of our teams, not all of our teams, so it looks a little bit different. Some coaches believe in me and what we do a little bit more than others, so some of them won't hesitate. So we're trying to build that culture too and trying to create buy-in. And so trying to figure out the best way for kids to be able to sprint and jump and run and lift and, do all those things and have an opportunity to get better because, at the end of the day, like our coaches need to win just like you guys. And so, yeah, figuring all that out and what it needs to look like and how we hold them accountable is something we're working through. And so I think we just got to lean on our leaders as well. And that's kind of what we're planning on doing.
If you don't mind me asking, because all of y'all, it sounds like all of y'all are essentially following the same thing, the same model. You build these body weight workouts, and Luke, I feel you. I mean, the years that I was a director and was over strength and conditioning, it's not easy to work with guys remotely because you get that answer of I don't have anything. So when you build these body weight workouts, how are you building them? Is there a focus? And then, I know you got John back there that works with different sports than you work with. Does his look different than yours? How does that work?
Yeah, so at least for us, I mean, I try to be as open to whatever, kind of conversation you want to have with your athletes. I kind of let the coaches here, the other strength coaches here, we have 4 on staff. So it's myself, Brandon Decker, he takes care of our men's basketball and tennis, and then Reed Miller takes care of softball, again, helps me with football, women's soccer, and like Bloom said, he has volleyball, women's basketball, and golf. So I kind of let them do their own programming whenever it comes to that. On my end, a lot of the body weight stuff, again, you just have to get creative as possible, right? Like I just shot some videos yesterday where I filled up a book bag full of, a lot of books, heavy books, and just threw them in there. And I did a lot of just different body weight movements, whether it's a body weight squat, lunges, lateral lunges, put your rear foot elevate on the couch or something like that and do some single leg split squats, stuff like that. Another thing that I really wanted to add in was some isometric stuff, literally just having the kids hold a split squat for 2 minutes. So that's some of the body weight stuff that they're on there. So that's a lot of like the workout stuff. One thing I really try to push towards our coaches to make sure that they're holding accountable, and Cade kind of mentioned it a little bit, is sprinting. For me, in my opinion, sprinting is one of the most beneficial things an athlete can do for themselves. So whether it's finding a hill, sprinting up it as fast as you can and doing that 10 times, or just going out to the street right in front of your house and literally just hitting a couple sprints. That was the main thing of at least the bodyweight exercise that I try to get across to our kids. And that's something that we've been talking about all semester long. So it kind of was feeding into the same thing that we've been talking about all semester, but just making sure that you're doing some form of sprinting to keep that explosiveness, to keep that speed, I thought was huge. But yeah, the bodyweight exercises, I mean, you've probably been on Twitter or Instagram. Every strength coach in the country is doing the exact same thing. Fill up a book bag, find a gallon of milk, whatever it is, and just start hitting some random movements. The the biggest thing I try to get across to them is as long as you're doing something, being active in some sort of way, it's beneficial. And again, hit those sprints as often as you can, because I feel like physiologically you get a lot of benefit from that stuff.
Hagen, how are things? Because I know, so I was a D3 kid. I played D3 football back in the day. You're working with a whole big number of athletes. How's that working now?
Yeah, so it's never a dull moment, especially now this got dropped on me. So it's like, you know, just a little bit of spice here and there. But I'll tell you the one thing that I'm doing, and I'm, you know, I'll be honest with you, I'm a turn up guy. I'm the hype guy, I guess, you know, whatever you're gonna call us. But you know, I guess to get my kids interested, that's the biggest thing. Okay, like Cade was talking about buy-in, right? Like we've been working on that all semester. Well, I don't want to stop that now and give them body weight workouts so they could get off Instagram or something. Like I feel like, I guess it's more personal. I guess I'm hard-headed. I'll just admit that. So I just took my template, everything that I've been doing in the weight room, and I dumbed it down. Obviously, we're body weight stuff, but I mean, like if we're doing, I mean, this is cheesy, but if we're doing like hang clean pulls in the weight room, I mean, I'm getting broomsticks and put buckets on the end. And I mean, I'm showing the kids how to do that stuff body weight style, but I'm still doing the same progressions, you know, obviously dumbed down, but I'm still wanting the same goals, still trying to keep the same movements as similar as possible. And I'm also doing, like Coach was saying, like Lancaster was saying, I'm big on sprinting. I like movement. I call it movement, I guess, being able to move side to side, all that things. I'm more worried about our kids coming back with such a huge gap of accountability in the fall, right? So there's all this time off. I'm worried about injuries, to be quite honest with you. Like kids, they're gonna go lift, they're gonna bench, they're gonna do arms, they're gonna squat. You know, they're probably not gonna clean or whatever, but they're gonna do stuff in the weight room. I'm concerned with this right here, side to side. I'm beside myself about it right now. So, you know, this is kind of cheesy. I'm just going to be honest with you guys, but I've got some soccer ball drills that I've got guys doing, or something that presents like a ball or something. That's like, you know, even if you got a football, go kick it around and go side to side. You know, I know that's really like dumbed down and cheesy, but man, I think the dudes would be into it personally. Like it's something new, it's flashy, you know, it's all over that stuff. But you know, it's better than me going out there and saying run 300-yard shuttles. No, you're not going to do that. They're not going to go do that. They're not going to go 5, 10, 5. They're not going to do that because they just don't want to. You know, and I can either force it on them where they're not going to do it, or give them something that's going to intrigue them a little bit, but also give a new, you know, a shiny toy effect. You know, it's like, oh, hey, no one's doing this. So it's like, boom, drop it on them. So that's kind of some of the stuff I've done. But, you know, like I said, bodyweight stuff, I'm still doing all that stuff, but I'm hard-headed. I still stick with the programming. You know, I just show them how to do stuff at home. And then I did like one on Instagram the other day. I'm a big social media guy too, but I did like a coronavirus injury prevention or something. And it was just like toilet paper glute bridges or something. And I ran out and had to use paper towels. I don't know. But, you know, like stuff like that, I think keeps the kids interested. You know, it makes me look pretty dumb in the long run. But I think at the end of the day, you know, it's like the kids are like, hey, I kind of see that. You know, it's like, hey, I kind of got respect for that. So that's kind of some of the stuff I'm doing. I'm doing the flashy movements, flashy Instagram stuff. But I just want the kids to stay bought into what we're doing. That's all I'm worried about. Is just move side to side, move front to back, lift, throw that overhead, boom, right there. But just stay in it. You know, stay with what we're doing, stay with the culture, and keep moving forward. So that's kind of some of the stuff that I'm personally doing with our program.
I think to kind of build off of that, like I in the email encourage our kids just to play, like literally play around, like go shoot hoops, you know, go run routes, whatever it is, like kickball, like whatever it is. Obviously, you want to practice their whole social distancing thing. I get that, but I think that's important, at least to just get out and really just play around. Like I think that can be of huge benefit. So in the email I sent to the kids, like I encourage you guys to go out, wide receivers, go run your routes, like go run the route tree or something like that, or offensive linemen, do your indie work, whatever it is. So just encouraging kids to literally just go out and play. One, to keep, like he was saying, just to keep them interested, but two, just to change it up a little bit and just have fun. Like, I mean, obviously this is kind of a weird situation that we're all in, but you're still an athlete. Go do some athletic things. You know, we're in the middle of spring ball when this whole thing hit, so we only got about 5 practices in. So football guys, go do some football stuff, throw the football around with some buddies or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm kind of glad he said that, but because you want to like at least encourage them to still stay involved in some form of athletic things that they can do with other people.
So John, I wanted to ask you, because you're taking care of specifically women's basketball. I mean, I know you got volleyball team, but you got women's basketball. And they're towards the back end of their season. This gets cleaned up if they're not in the conference tournament. I don't know how necessarily the Southland handled their tournament and everything, but yours is over. So how are you handling that? Are you starting off season early? Are you using this time to build volume? And then on the flip side of that, you've got volleyball who's in their spring season, and you've got football that's in their spring season. I mean, macro cycles and everything just got thrown completely out the window. How are y'all handling that? I mean, from somebody that used to do it, that would drive me insane. Like, the plan is gone, and I don't even know where to start the new plan. How are y'all handling that?
Yeah, so obviously with the volleyball and like women's basketball being smaller teams, I've been able to kind of have more individual conversations with the different athletes. And in terms of women's basketball, so like last Wednesday we went out to Katy for a conference tournament that was supposed to take place, and then Thursday we went home because we got canceled. So normally, like, you know, we would have been playing either in the NIT or the tournament at this time. And then, you know, whenever that ended, have like 2 weeks off probably, and then maybe got like 4 weeks of training in before they went home. So I'd say with them, it's not as big a change because, like, in terms of their planning, like what I can do, I'm talking with them about what they have right now, and then I'll send them a packet kind of fits what they have starting on Monday. And it kind of fits their needs a little better, you know, kind of doing like, you know, like the ISO split squads, doing stuff to kind of reboot their system, get their tendons, everything, their circulatory system, everything kind of back in order after the long season when they're pretty beat down. So they honestly, you know, they don't need as much like major like strength working now. So like not having equipment isn't quite as bad for them. Volleyball though, obviously like we've been training all spring, you know, really getting into it. So that's a little different, but still with them, really, I've been, you know, texting different girls, like, what do you have? What do you don't have? To fit that to them. And like they talked about sprinting and jumping, we can still get that in. That's a big part of what we do anyway. So really making sure we get that. And then just adapting the other things to try and, you know, just do as best we can. You know, I think, you know, I'm reading the one book right now that just came out, the Strength Training Manual, Agile Periodization. And like one thing that's talked about is that in a chaotic or complex like environment, whatever plan is most robust is going to have better long-term results than the most optimal plan. And I think that that's most represented right now, right? Because this is the most like chaotic thing in a while that probably we've already seen. So whatever we can do that's going to be robust and be able to be continued and have buy-in and be able to keep being carried out, and that might be most optimal, but they're not going to be able to do, is going to, in the long term, set them up the best. But, you know, overall, it was just my small team, just kind of seeing what they have and what I can best fit to what they have. And also kind of with Brian, how he's talking about, since like today I texted one of our leaders for the volleyball team, just kind of seeing how things are going and then telling her, you know, I encourage you to reach out to the other girls, making sure, you know, y'all are lifting and everybody's doing things. So that's kind of that player-led thing, so that we've been really trying to build. And just, you know, maybe like y'all send videos to each other, or put it like in our team message, or put it on Instagram or Twitter to encourage and make it something fun, so that they're kind of encouraging each other to keep doing that.
Yes, I like all of that. And I guess I have two questions, and y'all can kind of duke it out on who wants to answer what and how you want to answer it. But so we hear sprinting, we hear agility. Hey man, I'm 100% agree with y'all. And if I was still coaching, that would be a big focus. The question is, what would be your thoughts then on just not asking your athletes necessarily to do weighted body weight movements, or putting so much emphasis on you got to replicate weight room movement, taking the opportunity to maybe put more emphasis on movement, as Hagen says, and being even more specific on energy systems, where you not only sprint, jump, and now you've got an ability to, you can almost do a conjugate type training during a week of, you can have an aerobic day, you can have a athletic day, and you can have a PT day. And then my second question is on the relationship, how y'all are handling that. And I know, Hagen, you touched on it a little bit. How are you handling the relationships with your coaches? I mean, because that's one of the biggest things I know. That's huge right now. I'm talking to other coaches right now. It's coaches talking to coaches. Players always seem to talk to the coaches. It's coaches communicating with coaches. So y'all take that and run with it.
Yeah. So I guess for me, like when it comes to like the running, and again, I'm with Hagen, where I think that's got to be the main focus. And that's why, again, in that email that I sent to all our guys, that's kind of the main thing. And for me, kind of like you were saying, the way I set up all of our running stuff was kind of like, one day I want you to focus on your linear speed stuff. And again, it's got to be the stuff that we've been doing. So literally just, like a flying 10 or something like that. And you got to hit 6 of those with so much rest in between. Or the next day you might work on a little bit more aerobic capacity where you're just literally running hundreds and then just kind of going back and forth in that. And then adding in some change of direction work too. Again, stuff that we've been doing, our 60-yard shuttles, our conditioning test, if you want to call it that, which is our quarters test. And again, every kid knows how to do that. So I think just kind of switching that back and forth. And again, we're kind of doing a system with our coaches where I'm not only communicating with the kids, but the coaches are communicating with the kids too, where they've got to check off every single day. Did you drink your gallon of water? What was your body weight today? How many meals did you eat today? Did you eat before you worked out? If you did a workout, what workout was it? Because I just numbered the workout. So the kids would just say, I did lift number 5 with conditioning number 2 or something like that. So it's I'm kind of letting them pick, letting them take some ownership of it. But the way I set it up, and I'm sure most kids will do, is just kind of one day a longer run where it's that aerobic capacity, where the next day it's full out sprints, just trying to build up that tissue tolerance and also increase that speed. When it comes to communication with the coaches, I've got a great relationship with our football staff. I actually played for Coach Dorrell when I was at Northwest Missouri State. So again, we've had that constant communication. We've talked literally every day since this has gone on. So we're just going to do a weekly conference call as the entire coaching staff. So I'll sit down. We're going to talk about who we've stayed in contact with. The coaches are going to talk about the guys that they've stayed in contact with. That's going to be just position coach based. So I'm doing that with football. I'm also in charge of baseball right now. So you want to talk about people that took a major hit. Our baseball kids, they played 15 games or something like that, and then their season was over. So trying to build that relationship and just making sure mentally, are those kids okay? Are those coaches okay? Because our kids and our coaches really took it hard from what I understand. So just checking in with them, like literally just saying, how you doing, man? Like, how are things going? Are you handling everything okay? Was the biggest thing with the baseball kids for me, because a lot of them were pretty beat up about that. We don't know what's going to happen with NCAA coming down and giving eligibility. We're still in the midst of kind of what's going on with that. So kids' whole baseball athletic career is kind of on standstill right now. So baseball is a little bit smaller team, so that's easier for me to just reach out to each one of them individually, where just checking on them, make sure they're doing okay. I sent them workouts. I don't expect them to do much for a couple of weeks because they're just trying to process what's going on. I know a lot of them have access to batting cages or possibly summer ball, if that's still a thing. So just encourage them to work out, but just to stay in constant communication with me. That's kind of how I've addressed that. I don't know if you guys want to jump in, but
yeah, and I'll be brief about it. But we're at McMurry, we're a big relationship school. I mean, I know you hear that a lot, but like we're a small sandbox, I guess is the way we use our expression there. Like we're always talking with each other. All the coaches are with each other, the kids, all that stuff. And right now, man, when I say we took this thing hard, like we all did, including myself. And it's at a, kind of like Luke was saying, it's at a point where it's like we're still in that like hazy mode of like, is this real? Is this really happening to us right now? So it's like, I've reached out a little bit, but I'm paying more attention to the players right now as far as that goes. Like Luke was saying, I checked in on our seniors. It hurt me because I'd go to every game. I mean, if it was tennis, I'm at every event. That means a lot to me being there for the kids. So it's really been hurtful on us. So I've really tried to reach out to the coaches. But taking care of the kids, I think, is the number one thing in my job role right now is make sure they're good. Not just physically. Like, don't just send the workouts and expect them to do them. And like, if you do this, everything's going to be hunky dory. It's not that. It's just, I send them, but I'm also like, hey, man, are you okay? Like, do you need someone to talk to? Because as a strength coach, we're with them year round. I mean, I've got to know these kids from a personal level, right? Like we're off season, in season, summer, whatever. So it hurts me just as much as the kids. I mean, it really does. So, I've really tried to take care of the kids in this time. But I've also communicated with the coaches, like, here's kind of what we're going to do moving forward. And I think the other thing too is like, I try to jump on this thing. As soon as I kind of figured we were going to go to this online deal, I was like, hey, right now, let's go. Like, let's take care of the kids. And I sent them workouts, and I told them, I said, hey, it's not about you just doing this stuff. It like takes your mind off things. It eases that up a little bit, and that's the direction I'm going right now for the next couple of weeks. Like Luke was saying, was like, I don't expect them to do the workouts because I need them like physically ready to go next season. It's more like we're all in this like, what is happening right now? So that's kind of something we've done. But also I've been sending out, like I said, group meetings, checking with the kids, checking with the coaches, making sure we're all on the same page too, making sure I'm not doing anything that they wouldn't want or, whatever. And then, it's just, like I said, it's such a tough time right now, and we're seeing these bodyweight workouts. We need to be, mindful that the kids are going through a rough time. I don't want to make it sound like when I send these workouts, I just try to make it sound like, like I need you to move a little bit, but guys, it's for your health. It's more than just a game now we're playing. This is a life, it's a life deal going on. So that's something that I personally, that's how I've done our relationships, it's just trying to build those, keep moving forward with all that. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'll jump in there too. Sorry, John, if you want to go, you can speak before me, but thankfully we have great coaches. I think we have an interim athletic director right now because we just hired a new president who doesn't start until April 1st. So he's really done, he was our compliance officer, and then now he's our interim AD, and hopefully he sticks around. So he's done a really good job of communicating and, making sure coaches are on board and know what's going on. And so, yeah, I mean, kind of with the athletes, so with D2, the round of 64 is hosted at 8 different spots based on conferences and regions. And we were actually hosting our 8 teams for the women's basketball tournament. And so our girls were actually in the middle of practice. It was their practice time when they canceled the tournament. So they're in their gym. Our seniors are practicing. I had happened to go to lunch, and when I came back, they were playing kickball. And I was like, man, our coach likes to keep it loose. He's a good guy. But I was like, this is off brand. And they were like, no, it's done. And so it took them a while to kind of wrap their heads around it, like you guys are saying. And Hagen, I kind of identify with you. I'm not so much worried about my fall and my winter sports as much. I'm worried about my spring sports because it's different for them. Other than our women's basketball team, we hope they would be playing right now, but we would have 2 weeks of dead period with D2 where we can't touch them and we can't really communicate with them officially. So it's kind of business as usual for them. I think they're taking this time to recover. But it's my baseball guys who are just kind of dropped off, who some of them are going to get a 5th or a 6th year in some cases, and trying to figure out what's best for them and their futures. And just trying to reach out, and then, checking on kids' well, just mental health, really. I've been texting kids and making sure they're okay. And we have great kids. They're texting me. And so that's kind of cool, because my wife is pregnant with our first kid. So they're reaching out. Hey, how's your wife? How's she feeling? So that we just have great kids and great coaches. And so, we're working on the communication with the coaches. I think a lot of it is them trying to figure out at what point does this stop? At what point do they get kids back on campus? When do we get to compete in any way again? So trying to figure all those things out. We're just going to kind of do what we can, check in on them, send them what they need, and, meet them where they're at. I'll send a kind of a blanket program for everybody to do for the next however many weeks, and then have them adjust. They can text me and say, hey, I've got this, and that. Can we make it even, more specific or better or whatever, and how we can do that? And that's kind of the plan for us going forward. But I'm going to incorporate some of that, Luke, like you were saying, a sprint and a lift list, and say, hey, which ones did you do? Let's get this done, and try and mix and match going forward week to week. I think that's a great idea.
So all of this stuff is really good. And part of me misses coaching right now and having these conversations, and part of me doesn't miss coaching right now because of what y'all are having to go through right now. I guess my last thing, and it's forward thinking, and maybe you haven't thought about it, you have thought about it, especially because you got, and John, I know you got volleyball, and then all of y'all have football, and then you may have soccer as well. Coronavirus, COVID, whatever you want to say, it shuts us down for a couple months and then suddenly kicks back in, and we get in the summer and they say, okay, here we go. We're going to let August 2020, we're going to let everything start again, and we're going to let all sports start, all school starts. Man, how are you going to handle that with your coaches? How are you going to handle that with your kids when they're undertrained? I mean, even the most diligent athletes that we have, that take care of themselves, they're not ready to put pads on. They're not ready to go jump 200 times in a volleyball gym. Like, how are you going to handle that with the coaches? How are you going to handle that with the kids? I mean, that's what's on my mind right now looking forward. What are y'all thinking on that?
Yeah, I know for us, we had a big athletic staff meeting, and that was one of the first concerns, Evan, that came to my mind. There has to be some sort of acclimatization period or whatever you want to call it going into a fall camp or what have you. You would hope that this whole coronavirus kind of weeds itself out. So by the time that we can, at least as strength coaches, get some summer training in, at least our typical 8 weeks that we usually get. And that was something that our coaches were even asking, like, hey, like, can we start practices right away? We were still kind of on this March 30th date. Like, coaches were wanting to go practice right away. And I was like, hold on, pump the brakes a little bit. You can't have a kid that would possibly did nothing for 2 weeks, come right back in and jump right back into spring ball practice number 6. You can't do that. So making sure that there's an acclimatization period was obviously my number one concern. And that's why, again, I was trying to push so hard for our kids to be sprinting or do some form of running. Again, just to keep that tissue tolerance, keep the conditioning levels high enough where we're not going to have 10 groin pulls or 20 hamstrings the first couple of days of being back in spring ball. So that was obviously my biggest concern. So I think how do you kind of approach that? Again, it's going to kind of depend on where we go, and you would like to hope that we get enough leeway from not only our university but from the NCAA to says, hey, we're going to start back this date, and then you kind of work backwards from there and say, okay, what have our kids been doing? Again, we all hope that they're doing all the running that we're asking them to do, but you got to treat them like almost they're freshmen that have never worked out before. In my opinion, I think you got to start from almost scratch, where you keep the movements in the weight room very, very basic, but you also keep the conditioning and the running stuff as basic as possible. And you just try to progress as fast as you can to get them, make sure they're hitting their yardage for fall camp or what have you. So it's almost I don't want to say wipe the slate clean, but in a sense, depending on how long this is going to be, we're almost going to have to start from scratch in a sense. Because I kind of run a system where there's like a developmental program, a team program, which is my mid-year guys, and then the seniors are on the advanced program. You almost have to make everybody go back to developmental, because I have no idea what my seniors have been doing. I have no idea what my freshmen have been doing. I've got to get everybody on the same track again. And hopefully as we go through the summer or whenever we get back, you kind of notice who's been doing what, and maybe you can progress guys a little faster. So,
yeah, I'll be honest with you. At D3, we don't get training periods with them during the summer, for my fall sports. So like when we report, it's already like run and gun, and that's something, this is all an unfortunate deal, but this is something I've been trying to get ahead of for a couple of years now, to be honest with you, as far as like what you're asking, how do you get your kids ready for the fall when we just, it's like, boom, drop the hammer, we're practicing. I don't know what they've been doing all summer. I've been dealing with this since I've got into D3 strength and conditioning. And when, I used to have hair and I pulled it out. I'm serious. Like this just ripped it out. Cause it's like, dude, it drives me crazy. Cause I know the answer. Like fall camp shows up, right? We start practice. I get them like 2 days later in the weight room. Well, then all of a sudden kids got a hamstring or groin, right? First day out of the gate. And I asked the kid, it's very simple. I asked them 3 questions. Okay, did you have food before you did? Did you have food before you practiced? Did you do anything over summer? And was it not miles and bench press? That's the other question I asked. And then, are you getting water? I asked those 3 questions. And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, it's the training. Coach, I worked out, man. I ran 4 miles every single day. And I was like, dude, that's awesome if you want to go run distance. But right now I'm trying to get you to be explosive on a football field, and you've got to cut, man. Tell me what you did for that. And he's like, well, I didn't really think of it like that. Well, it's too late now. You're on the end, now you're hurt. Now he's having to recover. And it's been frustrating, honestly. So what I've done personally, and I think this is kind of something we're going to implement. I've been talking with our coaches, and that's part of this process, is getting that buy-in. I'll call them protocols, but there's 6 tests that I think, whether it's conditioning, whether it's strength, mobility kind of aspect to it, there's 6 tests that I'm taking our kids through when we come back from the fall out the gate. And I've got our football coach on board with this. So that's been the hardest thing, is just getting everybody on board. But those 6 tests, when it's a hip hinge, it's a core thing, it's a mobility, it's a conditioning aspect, it's a single leg pistol kind of progression deal. But basically, like when they come back, they're going to do these 6 tests, and I'm going to take everybody through it. And if they fail one of them, just one of them, that lets me know that they're not ready to perform on the field. So what that means is this, what we're going to be doing with that is that's where you kind of get into some gray areas. Like, well, coaches aren't going to sit a kid because he didn't pass these protocols. And I understand that. I'm not going to ask that of anybody. But what we'll do in the weight room is now I work with our athletic training staff. I'm very close with them. Like, we're like this. I mean, we're tight. And that's what we're going to do is we're going to combo that and say, all right, this kid failed to core. He couldn't hold a 90-second plank with a cone on his back or a PVC pipe. So that tells me his core is really weak, which is a red flag. That's like, whoa, dude, like, uh-oh. So we're going to get with the training staff, athletic training staff, and we're going to get partner to combo that thing up to address the areas that kid needs. So instead of in the weight room, instead of doing squats, he's not going to squat or do anything in the weight room until he can pass all 6 of those tests. And that's something I think that'll help us a little bit. I'm not saying that'll fix anything, but I think that'll diminish those numbers. And here's the last thing. If I give those 6 tests to the kids in a packet for the summer, those kids may not do anything. They may not lift, they may not run or do anything, but you know what they're going to do 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to do those 6 tests, knowing that I'll keep them out of the weight room until they can pass them. So that's something I've done actually before McMurry. I was at Hardin Simmons down the road as a graduate assistant. And that was kind of something I implemented. I worked with our human performance lab there. So we actually got Biodex numbers and we got all kinds of different, I've got stacks of data that we used. And I did it with my volleyball team there. And actually, dude, our injuries went down and I'm sure there's more to it. Like practice probably got better. I mean, there's a lot more to that, but I could tell a difference. It was a huge thing for us. And the girls, like I said, they didn't lift over summer. And they tell you that honestly in a survey. But the trick is they did those 6 tests. And when they came back, they were ready to go. And that allowed us to do more on the court as well. So that's kind of something we're going to start implementing at McMurry to get ahead of this, even with the coronavirus. Because I am worried. This is a lot of time for our kids to be off without accountability. And I'm terrified of injuries popping up in the fall. I mean, I really am. So I'm trying to figure out how to get ahead of that. I think the 6 tests will kind of help out a little bit. That's what we're going to do to prove that, to kind of get ahead of that. So.
And I think, so I guess depending on the timeline, everything. So if we do get them in the summer and have that training, I think our mindset has to be think conservatively and think with the mindset that they didn't do much and start there with a minimum based programming and then adapt based off what you see. So if you see maybe they are at a better spot, then you think you can start ramping it up. But it's better, I think, always to shoot lower right now than higher, because that's a much more costly mistake than be able to start low and build up. If we don't get that summer training and it comes to August for volleyball or football and we get them, I think it's going to be really important obviously to have those conversations with the coaches about, we got to build them back into it. Same type of mindset, right? Build lower and see what we can do and build off that. Which, honestly, if that does happen and we do a lot less, because honestly in those fall camps or preseason camps for volleyball, way too much is probably done sometimes. Maybe it'll show hey, we don't need to do that much, and in the long term be a good thing for the whole sports industry. But I don't know. That's just a thought.
I thought, John, I'll let Cade talk, but I completely agree with you that this could shed some light back into our industry, that you don't have to run your head through a wall every single day. You can cycle some things and save the CNS and hey, we're going to, I encourage all of you, if you don't, go follow Sless out of the Phoenix Suns and Daniel Bove out of the Phoenix Suns. They talk a bunch on the central nervous system and how to train it and how to take care of it. And I'm really hoping this kind of points us in that direction of, hey, we don't have to jump 400 times today. We can do some other things. We don't have to, do hard things every single day. We can do some mental things. We can do some aerobic things. So I'll let Cade talk, but John, I love the idea that you got going on.
Yeah, no, I think it's great too. I mean, last year during our volleyball, we're doing 2 days, and it was our, 3rd or 4th day of the first week, and our coach is like, all right, you got their conditioning test ready? I'm like, we're 12 sessions in. We don't need to be conditioning them now, So I'm hoping that kind of same thing, and I'm almost going to treat it just like an onboard. I'm thinking very minimal, John, just like you were saying, just grooving, movement patterns, and not I'm young, but I'm not going to be naive thinking our kids have just been doing absolutely everything that they can, breaking into gyms and lifting weights and, doing all of that. But hopefully for our field, it is dangerous if kids start getting injured. The first place, people are going to look is at, us. And it's we know Corona happened, but you're still expected to, produce at 100% no matter what, 110%. So being overly cautious to start and then adjusting kids as they need to, I think is going to be our move, because I think some of our coaches will be understanding and some of them will just, they were the grinder, the worker, I'm going to be in the gym no matter what, 20 hours a day. I expect my kids to be the same. And so just having that conversation of, almost, grace as faith-based schools, like have some grace for the situation, and let's not be naive to what they have and have not been doing, and taking really big ownership and making sure that kids are in the best position possible, even if it's volume so low that it doesn't even seem productive in a way. But we're so worried about the CNS and making sure kids are healthy that's my goal when we start in the fall.
Man, all of that is it's really awesome. And I know I've come and visited, at least with Luke and Cade, and I haven't, Hagen, we hadn't got to meet yet. And so this is awesome. We got to meet John. I think we met in passing when I may have come by there 1 or 2 times, but it's been good to get to hear this. Because like I said, being a strength coach, being away from it a little bit now, getting to have these conversations, but also getting to hear that y'all are out there, you got your heads on straight. You're way out in front of it. I mean, you're all young guys, and you are out in the forefront of the industry. It's really good to hear all of that. And I appreciate y'all sharing your thoughts and being so open, because I know some people aren't very open about this stuff. And the fact that y'all are willing to talk about it all is freaking awesome. So that is about the time limit we got. We could probably talk for another 2 hours if we wanted to talk for another 2 hours. But I think that's a pretty good little session that we got there. And we can hook it back up again in the future. But if y'all got any final little thoughts, throw them on there. And if not, we'll end it for the day.
I think, at least from my standpoint, I'm good. Again, Evan, I appreciate you asking me to do this. I think this is really cool, and I kind of hope we get a lot more of this, because, like you kind of said, it's kind of interesting to see other people's point of view and kind of hear how other people are attacking this whole crazy pandemic thing. So, again, I appreciate you asking us to do this. A lot of fun, and hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback that, man. I really do appreciate it, Evan. I'll be honest, I like talking. So like getting to like reason some of this out in my head. Like I'm all day like, what am I supposed to do? I'm kind of paranoid right now. I'm kind of freaking out. Like, should I be doing this or this? And I think this is kind of cool just to see what everybody's doing and like, hey, chill, dude. Like, it's okay. We're all in this together. So I think thank you for having this opportunity, man. This is awesome. This honestly cooled me down a little bit. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But it was awesome to meet both of you and talk about this. And same thing, I feel more relaxed and calm now.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys sharing and, realizing that we're all kind of in the same boat, fighting the same battles at, D1, D2, D3, Lubbock, Abilene, it doesn't matter. But if you guys ever come through Lubbock, I don't know if you guys have family connections, please come through, give me a call, and, my number's in that group text. But love to have you guys in the facility, come through, get a workout in, talk shop, whatever you guys are doing, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, you as well.
All right. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome, guys. I appreciate it very much. And y'all have a great rest of your day, boys.